Hi, welcome to Golden Years. I'm Lori Betts. This month I have two special people who are really involved in the Brunswick community and all about seniors. So we're going to hear some tips and how they can help you be safe. Come on back.
Hi, I'm Ed Zachary with Medina County Veterans Service Office. And if you're a veteran and you're in a crisis, or worse yet, contemplating suicide, I want you to pick up the phone and call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Do it now.
There is nothing wrong with your television. We are controlling transmission. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to Brunswick area television.
Hi, welcome back to Golden Years. This month I am interviewing Chief Carl DeForest and Chief Jim Baird. So, these are very important men in the city, and they are here to help my seniors live a wonderful, safe life. So, I want to direct to you, Chief. Last month I did have Lieutenant Safran on, and we talked about a lot of the hot issues that are going on in the city. On a daily basis, how can you, nothing is always repetitive to help these seniors. How can we make them safe in their home? Any tips, any?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having us, and thanks for what you do for the senior population in this area, particularly in the city of Brunswick. We greatly appreciate it.
Well,
and Bob Safran was promoted to lieutenant in November. He's our newest lieutenant. He's L2, and he's been given the responsibility of the primary guy in charge of community policing endeavors now that Nick Solar is retired. Nick Solar was
how's life without Nick?
It's laborious. It's challenging. It's not nearly as exciting and as fun as it used to be with Nick around, but we all have to make those transitions at times.
You do.
So Bob Safran was on your show, and he shared information with the seniors and with you about how to stay safe and scams to be aware of. And basically what we want people to be aware of is they need to look out for their well-being, and if they ever have a question about what's going on either around them with their particular circumstances or in the community, they should contact the police department, and we'll do our absolute best to try to help them out. And there are scams that particularly target seniors because they prey on their goodwill, and somebody will call and say, well, if you do this and do that, you've won $10,000, or you'll help these orphans, or you'll be able to help your community. And inevitably somebody will end up giving out their personal information, their bank account number, their social security number. Next thing you know, they're a victim of identity theft. Or they'll get items in the mail that'll ask for money, and they have no idea where it's going to, but they feel obligated to try to help other people, and so they do that. They'll scratch out a check, or they'll drop money in the mail, and next thing you know, they're a victim. So we want to make sure that people are cognizant of the fact that there are bad people out there who are looking to prey on them, and it's not just seniors, it's anybody and everybody, but particularly seniors. They have a little bit more time, so they may spend more time on their computer, or maybe they have a little bit more disposable income than the average bear, and they want to help folks, so they are more apt to respond to some of these scams. So if you have any questions or circumstances that you want flushed out or run by somebody, please call the police department, preferably at the non-emergency number 330-225-9111, and ask us. You know, this seems a little suspicious, and the rule of thumb I always use is if somebody's asking you for information over the phone and you don't know who it is and they're trying to sell you something or get information from you, don't give them any more information than you would a total stranger that you meet on a bus or at a McDonald's, because you shouldn't be sharing bank account information, social security number, date of birth, and the bank, the IRS, no government entity is going to call you and say, well, we'll send you this check as long as you tell us who you are, your date of birth, your social security number, and your bank account. They're not going to ask that information, and if anybody asks you that information, they're trying to get over on you. So
it's a red flag.
It is a red flag. It's a big red flag.
And especially with the seniors, they are so on a fixed budget. So if someone's going to call and say, you know what, you're going to win this kind of money, you know, just give me this information, blah, 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 and we'll make it happen, they're so vulnerable.
Yes, and they're hopeful. They're hopeful that
yeah.
their
Looking for
ship
that
has come
easy
in.
way.
Their ship has come in, and if it's only going to cost me $1,000 to get this, $100,000 lottery winning, then it's pretty good return on your dollar. And then part of the cascading effect, though, is when something like this happens, they're embarrassed, they don't want to tell people, they don't want to let their family members know, and that opens them up to being a victim of subsequent crimes or identity theft. So if you have something that's suspicious, talk to your family, talk to your caregivers if you have any that you have access to, or call the police department. And then if you become a victim of such a crime, please share the information so that we can get that out, we can do a report, see if we can recover your money, or we can at least inform other people so they don't fall a victim in the same way.
And no question is ever too stupid
No.
for a senior to call and ask you.
Absolutely not.
And I know for a while there they were doing, the scam was for Lifeline. If you send us a check or give us your credit card number, because you have to pay for shipping, you could have the Lifeline for free. It's just...
And inevitably people will do that. They'll give them their security code number from the back, the last 3 digits, and their
Yep.
credit card number. Next thing you know, somebody's charging things at Target or Walmart or Costco and running up bills that
It's a
are
scary
not
world.
yours, and you're not going to get your Lifeline either.
Very scary world. And I want to compliment the fire department chief. I know a lot of people, because I do the Lifeline, and a lot of people will tell me that, okay, when they push that button, and even if it's a mistake and you guys come out, you are so helpful to that senior. Mrs. Jones will come in and say, oh, hubby fell again. So they came out, they helped him, they made sure he was okay. And everyone's there to help. They're not going to abuse it. They're there to help them and make sure they are okay.
Yeah. That's why we exist, is to serve the public, to provide you with the services that you need, to live in your home, to deal with medical emergencies. We have a saying, if it's a crime, you call the police. If it's anything else, you call the fire department. We're glad to come out and glad to help at any time.
Do people still like the firefighters better?
Depends on who you are. I think they like us equally.
That's good. That's good.
I'm
to
sure
hear.
the firefighters' family loves them more than they love us, and the police family loves us more than they love the firefighters. But we all get along together. And again, like Chief Baird said, our ultimate goal is to serve the community and make sure people are safe and secure, and we have a good community and we take care of people.
And there are
My
many,
answer to
many.
that question would have been yes, but
That's where we differ.
that's where we differ, sir.
Because when you guys go on calls, you don't know if it's going to be a false alarm or if it's going to be critical.
Yeah, and that comes with the territory, and the caller doesn't call the fire department directly. They call the dispatch services, and the information that they give dispatch services is what we get. So we don't get information directly from the patient. So if you call 911, some of the things that are critical to do is clearly give your name and just a short statement about what's going on. My husband has chest pain, my father has fallen, and just simple things like that can put us in a mindset that we need to be in as we're going down the road to prepare for us meeting you and serving you. So whatever they give to the dispatcher is what we get. So their call to dispatch is important. And if you know that a family member suffers from diabetes, then that's something that you can tell the dispatcher right out of the chute, and it makes the communication clearer.
And to make your job easier, they should always have their medical information on the refrigerator. It used to be in the pill box, but a lot of people now are putting it on the refrigerator because information is so valuable at a time in crisis. You're there to help them.
Yes, it is. And some questions that the firemen will always ask when we walk through the door is we'll want to know what just happened. We won't necessarily want to know all of your medical history right away. We'll want to know, why did you call us today? And so that'll be a very common question you'll be asked. So if you know that we're going to ask you that question, you can prepare ahead of time and say, I fell down and my hip hurts, instead of saying, I have diabetes and I have this and I have that and I have this and that. All information that we'll need, but what we need right at the beginning is, I fell down and my hip hurts. That's why I called you. Right then, we can start moving down a faster path, a more efficient path, a safer path to care for you. Prescription medications, medical history, all of those things we will eventually ask. But that first, we call it the chief complaint, the reason you called us, that's always what we're going to ask you first when we walk through the door. If you're ready with that answer, things go much, much smoother.
They have to help you to help them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, very good. And is there any, I know you call them frequent flyers, but I mean, is there any abuse that people do call you? I mean, do you ever have a limit on how many times you can go to a home, or you're just there to help people?
No, we don't have a limit. If you call 911 and request our help, we are going to come out to you. There are people that we go on more frequently than others, but they have legitimate, ongoing, recurring medical issues that require assistance, and that's why we're there to help. There are diabetics who are it's called brittle. They have trouble controlling their blood sugar through no fault of their own. Mm-hmm. We've gone on many people that have had that, and we've gone on them multiple times. People that, particularly seniors, that have trouble moving around their house on their own or with the assistance of a mate. If they fall down, doesn't matter how many times they fall down. We're going to come out, we're going to help out. At a certain point, we will say, can we get you some additional help through senior services, through Medina County Health Department? Can we connect you up with a doctor or something like that to help you live safely in your home? But there's no limit in the amount of times it will come out. You call 911, we're going to come out, we're going to help.
That's good. And that's a very good point, asking them, can we help you further? You're not insulting them, but you're there to help them.
Yeah. And there are other agencies that will do that, and that's
Many.
beyond the scope of what the fire department typically does.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back, and I'll be hearing what's happening in the city.
We need a claim number?
When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving. We're here to help.
Welcome back to Golden Years. I am interviewing the chiefs of Brunswick. They are sharing with us little happenings that are happening here in Brunswick that you need to be aware of, and we want our seniors to be safe in the community.
Thanks for having us back. I'm glad you didn't ask us to leave during the break. And I want to clarify something before we get too much further. The chiefs of Brunswick, we do not have a tribal form of government, but he's the fire chief, I'm the police chief, and you end up with what you get.
And it's a damn good team.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very
So
much.
I want to thank you and all your employees for helping all the people in Brunswick. Because you know, there could be a serious call and there can be a, oh, I thought I needed you call. But you guys are out there.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
And either way, if you need us, give us a call and we'll come out and help.
That's good. Can you bring pizza?
No, we cannot deliver pizza.
Okay. All right.
Well, we deliver babies, but we don't.
There you go.
But usually not for the senior population. So.
Oh, no, you can't go that route.
Let's not do that.
Okay. What is happening in the city of Brunswick coming up in May?
Well, there's a lot of things happening between now and May, but one of the highlights, one of the things we're focusing on between now and May is the ballot issue for police and fire funding. We have an issue that is going to the ballot on May 2nd. It's the same issue that went to the voters in November of 2016. It's an incremental income tax increase. We currently have a temporary income tax of 0.50 or 0.5% on the books that will be expiring at the end of 2017. It's our desire and goal to increase that to 0.65, which is just a small increase in order to fund police and fire to maintain our staffing, because currently as it exists, the funding that comes out of the general fund to police and fire is about $1.8 million. So the safety levies that we have in effect do not pay for the police department and fire department. So our operation, while it's top-notch and paramount to the safety and well-being of the community, is draining the general fund to a large degree, and we want to try to even those things out. So we're going back to the ballot on May 2nd, and it's an income tax issue, and anybody can tell you that the majority of seniors are on fixed income because they have a retirement income, and this would not impact them because it wouldn't be any additional money coming from their retirement because the city of Brunswick does not tax retirement benefits. So you get the benefit without the cost. And I'll pass it over to Chief Baird here, but he can tell you about the population that uses the majority of the services from the fire department. And we want to make sure that people are safe, they have information and knowledge of this tax issue, and we can answer any questions they have. There's information on the website. If you call the police department or the fire department, or you want me to come out to a function and explain this information to you, we certainly can. And that's one of the reasons we're here, to talk to you and address particularly the senior population, because sometimes that's a group of folks that we don't have access to or information that we share on a frequent and regular basis. So again, I appreciate you having us here to speak about the income tax issue, because it's one that's very near and dear to our heart, and particularly important to the funding of the city.
And that being said, that is so important, because when people see a levy on the ballot, they're like, oh God, where am I going to get the extra pennies?
Yes.
I mean, because seniors are so fixed on an income. I do my mother's checkbook, and it's like, oh my God, where are we going to get this money from? So you have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, not literally, but you have to play the games. So I know what Mrs. Jones goes through every month. So that's a very good point, that it's not going to affect them.
And again, you get the service without any additional cost, and it's a good way to go. And again, I'll pass it off to Chief Baird to talk about the population that consumes a fair amount of the services that are rendered by the Division of Fire.
Chief?
On a national scale, America is getting older. We're living longer. The people that were baby boomers, we equate those people with the word baby, but all of the baby boomers are now in their senior years. So as the population is increasing, we've grown longer, the senior population increases, not only nationally, but kind of generally across all demographics. Everybody here knows I'm 60 now. Everybody here knows that as you get older, no matter whether you take care of yourself or not, things start to break down a little sooner. So a significant number, probably about 20%, 25% of our call responses for medical, paramedic work involve people in their senior age categories. And it's just critical for them to understand that the firefighters are the paramedics are the firefighters. There's only 6 of us on duty at any given time to serve a population of 35,000. So we need every man that we have on deck as often as we can get them on deck. And the simple truth is that takes funding. And the way that the city gets funding is with your permission. There's no money spent that's not voted on, or there's no money, I'm sorry, not spent, but there's no money that's collected that the voters don't get to have a say in. That's why the support of all the voters is so critical. But the seniors, as Chief DeForest referred to, the seniors have an upside to that, in that typically their income is not taxed, yet they have a right to vote to maintain the services that impact them most frequently. So we just want them to be aware of that.
And you're at their side when they have a need.
Absolutely.
Like, how many calls come through a day?
On the average, we get, an average is really a bad term. On the average, we're getting 7.9 calls a day. About 5 of those are EMS calls. But as with everything in America, there'll be days when we run 14, 15, 16 calls. There'll be days when we run 2 calls. 85% of the work we do is paramedic work. Even though we call ourselves the fire department, 85% of what we do is paramedic work. It is coming out to be at your side for your medical emergency.
And with technology and everything, times have changed. So calling out the paramedic, I mean, he could probably, how do I want to put this? but chances are that he could probably help the senior 10 times more than he could like maybe even 5-10 years ago with technology.
Oh, absolutely.
It's phenomenal.
Technology is going up. The hospital that we work with as our medical control, Southwest General Hospital, is constantly upgrading what we can provide for seniors. In the last 5 years alone, Southwest General Hospital has become a certified stroke center. They've passed that information down to us, so we can now, for the senior that's having a stroke, we can now be a part of a significant upgrade in the intervention process. Strokes used to be kind of permanent in nature. Whatever damage occurred happened. Now that's not the case, because the paramedics get there, identify it, transport quickly, because the hospitals, because we work with the hospitals, many patients with strokes make much better recoveries than they used to. It's the same with heart attacks. It's the same with people with breathing problems. We now have CPAP in the field, which resolves breathing issues far more effectively, far more efficiently, and far less expensively. In other words, win-win-win all the way around the board. So yes, and we're always on the front end of those technology changes because we work with the hospitals and because we're committed to providing the best service possible.
That's phenomenal. That's a very good point. So you guys are the go-to people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What other reminders, messages do you want to leave my viewers?
Well, we want to remind people to look out for themselves, and if you are a caregiver or your family member who has a senior person in your life, whether it's a neighbor or a friend or someone who lives around the corner or a family member, make sure you check on them, make sure you look in on them, make sure you're looking out for their well-being. Ask them open-ended questions like, so what happened today? And maybe they'll tell you about a medical issue. You know, maybe they're going through something that they don't necessarily want to share with someone, but they will if you ask the right question. Or maybe they've been a victim of a scam, and they won't tell you unless you ask. So what's going on today? Well, I got a phone call and I gave my bank account number and social security number to a total stranger from overseas. Those are things that you don't want to come out, but you'd rather know about it than have them become a victim, and next thing you know, they have no money or whatever the case may be. So look out. If you're a senior, look out for yourself. If you're a person who has a senior in your life, look out for them, their emotional well-being, their physical well-being, their spiritual well-being, and again, encourage them if they have any questions or circumstances they need the attention from the city for, please let us know. Please give us a call, and we'll do our absolute best to try to help them and work through their problems and situations.
Very good point. And I'm going to bring it up too, because the weather's going to start changing again to the warmth. Utility workers. It just happened in Macedonia. Someone comes knocking on the door. They're a pair together, and they say they have to come and check the gas.
Do not let anybody in your house. Do not let anybody in your house under any circumstances. If somebody comes to your house and says, I'm from Ohio Edison and me and Joe need to come into your house, you can say, wait a minute, let me see your identification. Why don't you give it to me so I can call the police department and find out if you're supposed to be here. They call us and we'll come out and check on them. And there's in the next couple months, there's going to be a tree cutting company that's going out on behalf of Ohio Edison to cut some lines, and there's going to be notification to the residents made prior to. So they'll have a door hanger, somebody will come down and knock on the door. So there are legitimate times when people will come to your door, but the city has that information as well. So we know who's supposed to be coming to your door, who's not. Another thing too is solicitors. Solicitors coming to your door to sell you things or ask for donations. If you don't want them there, don't answer the door. Or you can come to City Hall, and we have these stickers that you can put on your window that say no soliciting. And then if they solicit anyway, we can actually charge them with a crime of criminal trespassing because they've been served notice that they're not supposed to be there with the little no soliciting sign. So there's ways to get through that and end up not bothered, but do not let anybody in your house because you may not be a victim of violence, but you may be a victim of theft, because a lot of times what happens in those circumstances is one person will say, okay, well, can you show us where the water meter is? And next thing you know, you're in the basement and somebody else is in your bedroom going through your jewelry or taking your safe or whatever the case may be. So do not let anybody in your house under any circumstances unless you know specifically who they are, and if you have any suspicions about their intent, please call the police department and let us check it out.
Very good, very good. Chief Baird?
Yeah, on our end of the deal, some things that seniors can do to protect themselves in their own home. there are some very simple devices that are in every home: smoke detectors and carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide detectors. We're coming up on a time change. Make sure the smoke detectors work. Change the batteries in the smoke detectors and the carbon dioxide detectors. Those things provide advanced warning. I mean, and we've all heard them go off. They provide loud, advanced warning, which is what you really need if there's a fire in your home. So with the time change the batteries. If your smoke detector is more than 7 years old, buy a new one, because all products eventually have a lifespan. So even if you put a good battery in an old smoke detector, it might not work. So always keep the things that protect you in your home, keep them up to date. With the new information that's out about the way fires actually burn in homes, you're far safer now if you sleep with your door closed. Even if the fire is on the other side of the door, if your door is closed, it provides you an enormous level of protection from the fire. This is all information that's come out in the last 5 or 10 years. So sleep with your doors closed. Have your smoke detectors, your CO2 detectors ready. As far as personal health, stay compliant with your medications. Stay compliant with your doctor's visits. Make sure that you have clear instructions from a doctor about which medications do what, so that you're not taking too many different medications. Stay in touch with your family members. And probably the biggest thing is, don't be in denial about your health. If you wake up in the morning and your arm doesn't work like it should, don't give it an hour or two and say, oh, it'll get better. If something's wrong, call 911, get help early. It's always better to get help earlier rather than later.
And something just popped into my head, because Chief Baird years ago, he says, what happens when you deliver the patient to the ER? You get them situated, you leave. Seniors have to remember to put a note in their purse, pocket, whatever. This is my daughter, this is my son. Please call them. Because we just don't think of that. You need the next of kin.
You do need the next of kin, but oftentimes the police department and fire department will help identify that person and contact them if the patient or victim is able to give us that information. But
you will do that?
Oh, absolutely, yes. But under the circumstances, if somebody passes out and we go to the house and or they pass out in a parking lot or on a sidewalk, the number one thing is medical care, and we'll try to identify their next of kin or person who can come and get them. But if we have limited avenues or no avenues to do that, then obviously we're limited in our ability to do that. So it is a good idea to have information either on your person, in your phone as an emergency contact, or in your purse. I seldom carry a purse anymore now that Nick Solar's retired, so I would have to put it in
Nick
my pocket.
Solar said, watch that purse.
Watch
Don't
that
be leaving
purse.
it in that shopping
Don't
cart.
leave it.
Well, I'm glad you joined me today for my show on Bat TV, and I hope they gave you a lot of tips when you're out there, even in your home, or if you're out there shopping. Just be aware who's out there, and there are some bad people out there. So stay safe. We'll see you next month.
When emergencies threaten, you want to know immediately. In the city of Brunswick, residents receive alerts from Code Red. The Code Red service works with a database of phone numbers of Brunswick residents. Depending on the size and scope of the emergency, Code Red alerts either all of the city or just the part that is affected.
This is a Code Red message from the city of Brunswick.
As a city resident, you also have the opportunity to add warnings about severe weather, such as tornadoes, thunderstorms, or flash floods. If you want to be sure that you are registered, or if you want to add or change your notifications or phone number, we encourage you to visit the Code Red website. You'll find a link to Code Red on the city's website, www.brunswick.oh.us. Just click on the button for complete information and options.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.